Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the world. Praise be to Him. That was the recitation of Surah Yasin right there, popularly known as the heart of the Quran. So many lessons to be learned, from the oneness of Allah to the validation of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to also the need to believe in the day of judgment. So many things to learn from that particular chapter. No wonder it is called the heart, because it just shows different things as Muslims, which we even have to believe. Believe in the Prophet, believe in Allah and in His oneness, and also believe on the day of judgment.
I remember when we were very young, we were told about the story of the migration of the Prophet, and that when he was leaving the room, apartment, the unbelievers were aware that he was there, and they came to lay siege by the door. So when he was coming out, he had to read a portion of Yasin. وَجَعَلْنَا مِن بَيْنِ أَيْدِيهِمْ سَدًّا وَمِنْ خَلْفِهِمْ سَدًّا فَأَغْشَيْنَاهُمْ فَهُمْ لَا يُبْصِرُونَ. That the Prophet took sand and placed it on their head, and did not see anything when the Prophet was passing. So when we got to school, everybody used to do that for the person that will catch you for lateness, so that nobody will see you.
But
and we'll read that portion.
The intention is wrong. All right, it's time to jig it up with some Islamic musical, and after that we'll take the call to prayer. I'll be coming back with the talk. Do stay with us. Allah is indeed exalted. Welcome back. It's still Ramadan Kareem on TVC Communications. Yesterday we started a discussion on the status of women in Islam. However, time did not permit us to go the full length, which is why today, inshallah, we'll continue the discussion on the status of women in Islam, with keen eyes on the contemporary issues that have risen in relations to the topic. Yesterday, Ustaz, we outlined some of the status of women in Islam, looking at the status from motherhood to being a woman herself, and looking at it to being a wife also. Now, this morning, I want us to look at the contemporary issues that have risen. Women in relations to working, in relations to education, owning properties, and the like. So let's start from working, because from the wife, now we have wives working, which wasn't what we used to have before. So women working, what is the Islamic injunction on this?
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. Alhamdulillahi alladhi bi ni'matihi tatimmu salihat wa bi fadlihi tatanazzalu al-khayrat wal barakat wa bi 'awnihi tatahaqqaqu al-maqasid wal ghayat. We thank Allah for this opportunity, for the opportunity of Islam, and for the favor of Al-Islam. Without Islam, life would have been meaningless to us. Without this guidance from God, we would have been living life as an animal that just take onto what it sees and behaves the way it likes. But for Islam, we have been made to understand that we should look things and place them in the right perspective. One of those issues in life that is very important, germane to our existence, is the relationship and the status of those Allah has made as vicegerent on the surface of the earth, men and women. Yesterday, like you rightly said, we looked at 4 of the status on which Islam places women. First and foremost, as an insan, as a human being, Islam recognizes her. And accords her that respect, that you are a human being like man. And as is وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي Adam. All the sons of Adam, we have honored them. And amongst the sons of Adam are males and females. Secondly, Islam honors women from the perspective of being feminine. There are 2 genders. Allah says in the Quran, we have created you in both males and females. And Islam recognizes the status of being a female by letting men not to take a look. That was why the Prophet ﷺ told us, لَعَنَ اللَّهُ الْمُتَشَبِّهِينَ مِنَ الرِّجَالِ بِالنِّسَاءِ. Allah has caused men that behave or dress like women, so that you retain their feminism to them. This is the understanding of feminism. We should respect them for their gender. And thirdly, Islam recognizes women from the perspective of being a mother. And Allah Ta'ala has praised them in Quran chapter 31 and other chapters In fact, going to the extent of even ascribing chapters to them, Surah An-Nisa, chapter of women. And having said that, Islam goes further to give them that status again of saying, as a daughter, Islam recognizes them, that they have the right as daughters to live, and they should not be relegated. Their birth to this world should not be seen as a disgrace to the father or to the entire family. No wonder in the Arab land they used to see the birth of a daughter as a setback to their power or to their might, or probably their future ambition towards a particular status in the community. So Islam says, وَإِذَا الْمَوْلُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ. They used to bury them alive. But when Islam came, it put an end to that. Just like Mary Slessor put an end to the killing of twins. Islam laid the premises for, human respect, the respect to life. And having said that, Islam goes forward to say that as a wife, she must be accorded the right position, the right status. And that is, she has the right to be given certain things. One of our rights is right to our dowry, which is called al-mahr.
Okay.
She has to be given. She has to be respected. You cannot have the access to her except if her consent is sought in that marital relationship as a wife. Next, you must give her all the things she deserves, ranging from the conditions to marry her down to the yardstick for her to accept your offer. Okay. And that, not only that, Islam now picks from there some situations that arises from there. As a wife, when the husband dies, she has the right to the inheritance. As a woman, in fact, I would like to tell you that some people wrongfully attack Islam of being discrimination, at-tamayyuz, to discriminate. That Islam discriminates between males and females, men and women. No. By nature, women are strong in some areas. By nature, they have weaknesses in some areas. By nature, men have higher position or strength in certain areas. The SWOT analysis can help us with this. The strength, the weakness, the opportunities, and the threats. All these four factors are embedded in both male and females. For females, you know that emotional aspect, they are good at it. And for you to nurture a child, you need that emotional attraction, that emotional strength, which is not that strong. The percentage is low in men. However, for physical activities, men might have the edge to go to wars, to fight battles, to do certain things that will make life comfortable, especially seeking livelihood. You know, I have a friend abroad. He told me he goes through 4 jobs. One in the morning, one in the afternoon. A woman cannot do that easily.
All right.
It's not easy. And the last one, which we did not mention yesterday, she has a position in the community, the environment, the society where she is raised. She's not meant to leave her father's home, go to the husband's house and die there. No. She has a role to play in the general society. This is where people get it wrong. This is where some people, even those who claim to be Muslims, but myopic in the understanding of the role of women, they believe a woman has no role in the extended community.
Okay.
Wallahi, I tell you, they have rules, and they must. No wonder Islam permits that they should go to school and learn. Talabul ilmi faridatun ala kulli muslimin. Islam says the search for knowledge is compulsory on every Muslim. Within that word, every Muslim entails women and too. And she does not get it within the 4 walls of her room. She has to go out to get it. We search for it. So she goes out. In the area of commanding good and forbidding evil, she has a role to play too. So, and that can be even outside. Though a fundamental role is within the 4 walls of the husband's house. No wonder Islam did not make praying in the mosque compulsory for her. So that she has the time to take care of the family, while the husband is playing a public role outside. However, there are some women with certain specialties. They are grounded in certain fields. It is there even in the history of the prophet that when they go to wars, they used to accomplish the men. They stay at the back line of the row to treat those who get injured, to carry those who are weak, and to prepare food for them. Asma bint Abu Bakr, one of the daughters of Abu Bakr, was known to work in the farmyard. She would carry a lot of things as far as 3 miles. She walks down. She was not sitting in the home, in the house of the father. She would go to the farm and farm, prepare the ground, till the ground, and place, seeds for it to germinate.
Okay, now looking from that, because yesterday, while surfing the net, I read the story of a sister in one of the Islamic countries, saying she shared her experience, saying when she got married, she wanted to work. First, she didn't give consent to her marriage. Her parents forced her to get married to the man, which was part of what we discussed yesterday, at a younger age. And the man brutalized her in the process. And she had to leave the marriage. She had to get the marriage annulled. And after that, she moved on to another marriage. And this time around, she found peace in this one. But it wasn't within our area. It wasn't where she grew up. She had to go to another country to do that. But on getting there, she wanted to work, but she wasn't given the permission to work because her husband was of the opinion that she shouldn't work as a woman. She should sit at home. So this caused really big issue between her, and even the community frowned against the fact that she was working. She was constantly harassed for working. So now that brings me to women working in Islam. Is there any rule against women actually going out to seek means of sustenance?
Fundamentally, women working is not the primary assignment for them to do, because the verses of the Quran have spelled out the rules of each of them. Walil mawludi lah, for those who receive the birth of a child, of a baby. Rizquhunna wa kiswatuhunna. Allah says their assignment is to provide for the mother and the child. وَكِسْوَتُهُنَّ, and to clothe them. So from there, scholars have derived that the basic function of the man is to go out and provide, while the woman takes care of the home. However, in certain situations and in certain conditions, the woman might find herself working. Perhaps she's the most knowledgeable in that field, and her service is required. When there's no man to deliver that message, to deliver that assignment, she might be requested to come and, fill up that gap in the community so that the community can advance. Maybe she must have inherited the knowledge from the parent. Maybe a goldsmith now, a girl that works with the father. She grew up working or learning this thing from the father directly, or smelting iron. She grew up doing this, or a skill that is known to that family. Maybe bead making, or all these functions. And the community is in need of fabric, those who can design fabrics and bring the quality that will make the nation number one within the community of nations. And there she is in the four walls of her husband's house. If the community, if the nation deserves a knowledge and know-how, she has to be called upon with the permission of the husband. In some other schools of thought, that if it's something that would liberate the life of a community, the husband's permission is not even required. They will get to her to liberate the community because of the knowledge she has. And one of the trusts, when we're talking about trust, and I think we should discuss about trust on this show, is amanatul ilm, the trust of knowledge, is that you render it. Knowledge desires that you use it when the demand comes for it. So for that woman or the husband is not bringing in enough.
She's looking at our current situation where everybody has to put their weight.
That is it. The woman too can contribute because it has become darura, necessity at that point in time. And if she has a know-how that can pull fund, risk more to the family, it's to complement the husband. And the husband should be ready to appreciate that. However, today, some men are arrogant to that level. They should rather give the wife the respect Islam has given conditions for women working. Number one is that it should be limited in time. Not 6 in the morning to 6 in the night. Not 5 a.m. in the early morning to 10 p.m. late in the night. You find in recent time, first class ladies resigning from work because it's affecting their home, the home front. The kids are suffering. The housemates are taking over the job of the woman, and they are giving the children the values they have, not the value of the mother that gave birth to them. So it's telling, and the community too is suffering from, because the community is a host of the product of the home. The products of the home will influence or affect the immediate community. So because Al-Insan Ibn Bi'ati, man is a product of his community. So therefore, the condition number one is that it should not take a whole time. It must be with the consent of the husband. Number 3 is that too much intermingling with men, if it cannot be guaranteed, then she will not be advised to work. You intermingle. Islam does not go against intermingling, but the permissible one. Because in the time of the Prophet, males and females do intermingle, but within the confines, the scope of Sharia. They used to go to the mosque to learn from the Prophet, and they will meet. They used to go for salat. They meet. They ask questions. So this is allowed. And at wars, like I mentioned, they will be at the back row, taking the injured ones, treating them. This is a level of intermingling which is within the Sharia scope.
Now, coming from intermingling, I remember there was this question a sister once asked at a fiqh forum. She asked the ustaz that, is it wrong for a woman to teach the opposite sex? Probably she's teaching a class and we have male and female in the class. Is it wrong for a woman to teach such class?
In a standard Islamic environment, it will not be the best option. It is only an option when the woman is the most knowledgeable in that field. Even men bow to her. In this field, she's the yoga. Because even the Prophet ﷺ told us, "Khudhu dinakum," take your religion from Aisha. He used an expression to describe Aisha. Take your religion from her. That is, learn Islam from her. So, and not only that, and in fact, they used to go and meet her at home. She will be behind the veil, and people ask questions. They seek fatwa, Islamic verdicts from her, because she's the most knowledgeable. She saw the Prophet within the 4 walls of the house doing certain things that those people outside never, had the experience of seeing, like ghusl after marital intercourse. Would the Prophet go and take his bath in the presence of the companions because he wants to teach them? No, it's only Aisha and other wives that saw exactly how he did it. So to take that knowledge will only be from her and others. Okay. So at times, situation might demand that the woman is the best in that status to take care of that subject matter. So that would be a preference.
All right, you can ask the ustaz any question or contribute to the discussion of the topic, status of women in Islam. All you need to do is call the number on your screen to be a part of this segment. Ustaz, now we've highlighted some of the things, the Islamic principle when it comes to working. Now let's look at inheritance, not just as a widow, but also as a daughter to your father. What is the Islamic principle on inheritance for a woman?
Quran chapter 4 verse 11 and some other verses of the Quran have spelled out this. It will surprise you that the verse that people use to accuse Islam is that why will Islam dictate that women should take half of men, and yet we claim they are equal? They are not equal. They are equal. So people have actually come out recently. They even visited Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi in Nigeria here, and in fact some of the scholars in the southwest here to seek their support for the campaign to say gender equality, to that extent that they should abolish the idea of inheritance and discrimination of men having higher percentage or higher right to the inheritance than of the women. But I want to tell you that you take it as a surprise that it's only in 4 situations that men will take more than women. More than 30 situations, more than 30 situations, women will take equal or even more than men, or men will not even take anything.
Okay, Ustaz, we have Abdullah. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, Abdullah.
Wa alaikum salam.
All right, please go ahead with your question.
Salam. I want to talk to this Sheikh Malam. I forget his name.
Imran Rufai.
Somebody has a new wife in that is during the Ramadan. Is it good? How? I want to know, because there are some people do more than themselves to have a new wife.
Did you get the question?
Wa alaikum salam.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi
To have a second wife, right? Maybe if that's what you mean, Islam is one of the situations where
to have a new wife in the month of Ramadan.
In the month of Ramadan, yes, you can have a new wife. There's nothing blocking you from having. But people want to take their minds away from things that would make them not maximize the blessings of Ramadan. So some people delay it till after Ramadan, or they quickly do it before Ramadan. Because to them, bringing that into Ramadan will distract, according to some people. But Islam has not said you cannot have your wife in Ramadan. Okay. So people want a situation that will be clear of the month-long assignment. So they prefer to do it before Ramadan or immediately after Ramadan. When you see people rushing before Ramadan, it's because they want to benefit from the beauties of having a companion to help them in the house chores, or to make life easy for them by cooking for them while they go out searching for provisions. Then after Ramadan, to cool their nerves down, to make life a different thing. So there's nothing wrong doing it in Ramadan. Wallahu a'lam.
All right, now let's go back to the status of women when it comes to
inheritance. So in these situations, Islam, for example, a man dies. This is the first situation. The first situations where a woman will have, a man will have 2 times what the woman has. The man dies, he has a daughter and a son. It will be ratio 2 to 1. Twice of what the lady takes, the girl takes. The same thing, you have a man dies, he has a brother and he has a sister. The same thing, ratio 2 to 1. And the third case, a man dies, there's a sister and a father. The same thing, ratio 2 to 1. The father will take 2 and the sister to him will take 1.
All right, Ustaz, we have Balaji from Ekwaja. Assalamu alaikum. Please, I need you to turn down the volume of your TV set.
Okay, sir. Good morning, ma'am.
All right, let's have your question.
Okay, ma'am. I'm calling from Ekwaja, and I live in study about biology. So what I need to ask for you, ma'am, is knowing that I have a girlfriend, but the girlfriend is Christian. So she wanted to fast our Ramadan. She wanted to ask me if you have a right to perform the Ramadan. I let her say you are not a Muslim, but you need to perform the Muslim before you enter the Ramadan. So later on, she let me say you cannot allow me to do it. So that I say, don't worry, I will still ask the question for those who are noticing more than me.
Okay.
I just want to confirm now.
All right, thank you very much.
Mr. Bolaji, the first thing is that you are a Muslim and she is not a Muslim. It is not compulsory on her to fast. And it is not compulsory on her to become a Muslim. But if she wills to become a Muslim with you, fine and good for you. And I've said this earlier on this show. It's not a condition that if you marry a non-Muslim, especially a Jew or a Christian, that they should become Muslim. But if it's an agreement between you and her, that if you marry her, she'll become a Muslim, fine and good for you. Alhamdulillah. Coming back to your question of fasting, it is not compulsory because the call to that assignment was directed to the Muslims. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you Muslims, O you believers, kutiba alaykumus siyam. Fasting has been made compulsory on you. It has been prescribed for you. كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ, just the way it was prescribed for those before you. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so that you can attain piety. So the call there makes it a condition that those that will partake in this Ramadan must be a Muslim. And if a non-Muslim comes in, it will be a physical exercise, not a spiritual exercise.
All right, thank you very much. Now let's take Aliyu Olu from Damaturu. Assalamu alaikum. And thank you very much. We've seen your hand. Let me say it that way. Thank you very much for fulfilling your promise. May Allah continue to reward you. Yeah. So go ahead with your contribution.
To firstly appreciate Sister Kayat viewer and Malam Imran.
Thank you very much.
True costly knowledge in this month of Ramadan. May Allah continue to increase both of you in knowledge.
Amen.
For what Ustaz has said as regards the status of women in Islam, therefore, I want to say that the affirmative action that women are asking for is still a misnomer from what Ustaz has said. That is, most women to ask right to aspire to political position and to some other things. Most men have taken women as sex objects or baby manufacturers, such that they perpetually keep them in the house without allowing them to go outside to look for means of livelihood to support the family. Then there's this question again. I read a book sometime where the Prophet Muhammad said a woman, if she's exposed by her husband, she has the right to go back to her father's house and even live there if she has not gotten another husband. So this brought us to the question of this Dali Musu of the king. In Islam, some society does not believe in it. They believe that the woman should definitely get a husband. If he doesn't find anyone, you have to go and look for a house to rent outside, not coming back to his father's house. So I want a clarification on this.
All right,
and those that keep women in the house perpetually without allowing them to work. Then can woman aspire to be governor of a state or chairman of the local government? Because this has happened in my state where I come from, where women wanted to aspire, but they vehemently opposed our aspiration to become a political leader. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Should
I say those questions because there are a lot of them?
Yes, like 3 of them.
Yes.
I can remember 3 of them. Number 1 is a perpetual, siege or imprisonment for women in the house, not allowing them to relate with the community that is hosting them, where they are born, where they have the right to be part of. That they only see their husband's house, their father's house as the starting point, and the husband's house as the finishing point, and their grave as the final home. This is not the attitude of Islam to women. But some people have ignorantly adopted this idea where they misinterpreted the ayah of the Quran. وَقَرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ وَلَا تَبَرَّجْنَ تَبَرُّجَ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ الْأُولَى وَأَقِمْنَ الصَّلَاةَ كَمَا قَالَ تَعَالَى فِي الْقُرْآنِ. That stay in your house and you must never go out the way the women of ignorance go out. They interpreted this to mean it's from your father's home to your husband's house and down to the grave. There's no other intermingling with any community. This is wrong message. So Islam is not in support of that. If you find anybody doing that, it is out of ignorance.
All right, let's also quickly look at the driving. Muslim
the
women
issue of
allowed
driving,
to drive?
It's an issue of debate, serious between scholars in Saudi Arabia. Right now, the MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, in conjunction with some people there, have forcefully permitted it. While their scholars, some of their scholars, say they don't agree with it. There was fatwa on it, Islamic verdict. However, it's not the unanimous position of all the scholars that women cannot drive. The nature of your environment will dictate this fatwa you pass. The fatwa in Saudi might not work in Nigeria. The fatwa in Nigeria might not work in Europe because the nature of the environment. What they seek to protect is unnecessary intermingling of women outside, that they want to block any potential opportunity to promiscuity. So this is what they're trying to avoid.
All right, so basically Islam doesn't really, pressure the woman or relegate her to the background. Rather, Islam looks at the woman for who she is and gives her rights in accordance to that.
And most importantly, no religion has revered a woman like Islam. She's always under the protection of somebody. If not the father, it will be the husband. If not the husband, it will be the brother. If not the brother, it will be the son. Somebody is always looking after her. So Islam has protected her from day one to the last day.
All right. Well, this is where we wrap it up on the Ramadan talk this morning. Ustaz, Jazakallah khairan. Thank you very much. Now we'll go on a break, and when we come back, we would have the Ramadan quiz. We'll be giving out gift items called to TVC Communications, from the scarf to the hijabs to the abaya for the sisters, kaftan for the brothers, caps called to TVC Communications. We also have carton of noodles, carton of oil, also umbrella called to TVC Communications. We have the prayer book called to Ansarudin Mission, Lagos State Council. We have the Quran, copies of the Quran called to Ansarudin Mission, Lagos State Council. And not to forget the prayer mat and also the tesbih called TVC Communications. Let's go on a break now, and when we come back, I hope you'll be prepared for the quiz segment. Stay with us.